Peace, 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 family. Vie Darling, the cosmic queen, and your intergalactic interpreter. And I am here with a little message. So I have been, or rather, some memories have been surfacing for me. My subconscious is purging. My plasma is purging. My DNA is purging. Sorry, I'm still doing my skincare. So you might hear some noises on the microphone, but actually this should be fine. Anyway, and so there's purging going on, and that purging is purging some entities and fears. This is like very visceral, deep fears, and this has been going on for a while. And one thing that I notice about myself is when some repressed fears are surfacing, usually I really want to like use substances. Like I just do, and it's just like part and parcel. And so it'll be like a week of me like wanting to escape my body. Substances are usually the way that one thinks to do that, but I don't drink and I don't do any kind of other illicit substances, so that's not really an option for me. So what has happened is that I instead was eating a ton of sweets and doing frivolous spending. I wouldn't really say that I was like really going crazy. I was being careless, but it died. LOL. Well, I can charge my phone now, so we can keep on chatting. So, hold on a second. I don't know if this is gonna... Okay, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to get insight into what the fuck this is, where the fuck it comes from, because I do have a lot of memories related to this place that I went to when I was growing up called Discovery Zone. And the Discovery Zone was a children's museum. It still is, actually. It's still there. It's a children's museum that is in Baltimore that I used to go to a lot with, like, daycare. And yeah, my, like, memories of this place are vague and odd. I do remember getting lost there once. And I think that maybe that is what this fear is related to, because memories have been surfacing about, like, getting lost and getting reprimanded by the counselors and them being like, you're always getting lost. And it's like, well, I'm gonna be real honest with you. I know that there were, like, you're watching a bunch of kids, but if you know that I'm a kid who keeps getting lost, and, like, I'm also a very scared little kid, which I was, you should be keeping a better fucking eye on me. You're the adult. I'm, like, 4 years old, you know? And then today, another memory came back that I used to do ballet when I was in Montessori school. Most of my memories, I have, like, some very traumatic memories from Montessori school. Like, I slid under a fence and got a huge scar on my arm. And it's like, yeah, of course I remember that, because, like, that was a really major event in my life. But I have decent amount of memories from that time, but not a ton. It's more so, like, kindergarten and first grade and second grade that, like, I have some really impactful memories, but for the most part, it's pretty vague. And that's actually not normal. I know that, like, people, I think that it's, like, normal to not remember, like, oh, I was a kid, I don't remember. It's like, no, like, a lot of people who didn't have super traumatic childhoods can remember, and I can't. So, I don't know, like, I want to figure out, like, what, I'm not gonna wear this shit. Where is this, like, coming from? Like, where are these memories, particularly with the Montessori school, coming from? Like, what, like, where is this fear arising from? You know what I mean? Yeah. And, like, why was I afraid? Was I afraid at the Discovery Zone because I was lost, and maybe I was, like, afraid that I was gonna get in trouble because I was lost? Was I, like, afraid at the Discovery Zone? I do think that I was actually afraid. Like, more memories are coming up about, like, what the Discovery Zone is actually, like, a really cool children's museum, but there's always this, like, mystery that we had to figure out. It's like, how many times are we going to figure out this same mystery? But you go to different rooms to get different information. And then there was this other place that was, like, for kids that, like, we went to multiple times that, like, also, I think, I don't know if it's the same museum or a different museum, but we went there multiple times, and I think it may have even just been, like, one of the places where we went to daycare. I can't remember. It was very spectacular. And it's hard to know because I also have said before that I was a very magical kid, and I I had I was born with like 6-dimensional consciousness. And I don't know if anybody else on Earth at that point had accessed 6D consciousness yet. Because somebody has to be the first, you know what I mean? And it comes in waves, but I know that like as a kid I had that level of consciousness, and like as that consciousness is being activated, I am like fears are falling away, and it could have to do with like persecution and getting in trouble and being afraid of like being weird and different. Who knows? I don't know. That's what I'm like trying to communicate. It's like, I don't know where these fears are coming from. But I know that there's stuff that my inner child wanted to communicate to me about the fears, and I guess the thing that I'm trying to say, because I wanted to like dive into this energy and find out like what was going on at the discovery zone, you know what I mean? But I think that what I need to do is dig into what it is that my inner child wanted to communicate to me. And I'm going to do that using divination, because it's challenging for me to get the words out. So I'm going to sit at my altar now. And I'm going to use my Crystal Vision tarot deck. And I'm going to dedicate some time, and I'm going to give myself time to communicate this. I'm going to use the Rose Oracle deck by Rebecca Campbell and the Work Your Light Oracle deck by Rebecca Campbell. Yes. I'm gonna get some information. I might have to have some 𝗪𝗪 tea, because this is like, I hate when this happens. It's like really uncomfortable. I'm going to get the overall energy and the message that my inner child is trying to communicate to me from these decks, and then I'm going to go into it with my Crystal Visions deck. And I'm also going to use my Unsacred Oracle deck. I know that wants to come out. And for moving forward, I think I'm going to use the Crystal Visions deck to get an answer as to like what to do next, because I think it's just so important to start actually asking my innermost self, like, what do you need? What do you want? Like, not in a cantankerous way, but like, what can I give you? What can I do to like support you, you know? I do think that the energies of the house want attention, and they want to communicate with me too. Well, one of them is like a white man in his 30s. The Anointed, Answer the Call, Leadership, Empowerment, Soul Gifts. 𝗪𝗪𝗀, Hidden in Plain Sight, Mysteries, Learning, and Teaching at the bottom of the deck in the reverse. So I'm going to actually just go ahead and read from the book. Answer the Call, Leadership, Empowerment, Soul Gifts. Rose, and like a big message that's coming through is to slow the F down. Slow down. There's no rush. The more that we slow down, the more that our blessings, the things that we forgot in the past, are able to catch up to us. And we're able to get those things that we missed out on. So we don't have to have nostalgic grief about what we missed out on, because we're present in the moment finally, and we can pick up all of that stuff. And I understand that you don't want to slow down, because if you slow down, that means that you're going to, that the things that you're afraid of are also able to catch up to you. And it might feel like that's all that's been happening, is that like all this stuff that you were afraid of has been catching up to you, and none of the good stuff. I understand that that is a way that you feel right now. But I want to let you know that the more that you deal with the not good stuff, the stuff that's difficult, the stuff that's challenging, the stuff that you don't like, the more that you deal with that, that's called life on life's terms, the more that you're going to come into union with the things that you do want to interact with. But those things cannot reach you when you're running away from them. When you're running away from the things that you don't want to deal with, the things that you don't want to deal with, that's what's on the other side of those things. Okay? So that is one of the messages that's coming through here, is you need to slow down. I know that you think that if you slow down, you're not going to have your needs met, because that has been something that you've dealt with in the past. But the reality of the situation is, like, the past is the past, and that's over now. And I know that that is hard to believe, and I know that that is hard to trust when you've been hardwired to not trust. But your inner child wants you to slow down and play with them. They just want you to play with them. And what kind of play? They're saying they feel forgotten. They're saying that we were paying attention and now we're not. We're too focused on other stuff. And it hurts to feel abandoned again. And they're saying that they felt abandoned at the, they felt so scared and alone. Well, what happened to you there? Can you tell me what happened? Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and read from the book. Rose oil has been used to anoint initiates through the ages. Royalty 2. This card is here to herald you into an even more powerful expression of what you came here to be and do. It's calling you to step forth into your inner queendom and kingdom, to answer the greatest call of your soul and face your true north, to seed even more of what you came here to share, to acknowledge your arrival as the initiate of your life, to shed the external noise that may have been stopping you from being all that you already are, to realize that you've been training for this for a long time, perhaps even lifetimes. The path your soul chose to walk is one that few have the courage to walk, and you came here for this. You're being led through this. Your soul is ancient, and with every step you've taken in every body you've been planted in, you've gathered a kaleidoscope of gifts that are ready to be shown and shared. You're being called to deeply trust the call that you've been hearing. To lead, to lead, to lead. The path you're here to pave has not been walked the way you'll walk it. And as with all ancient initiates, healers, visionaries, creatives, and leaders, you're just one magnificent thread in the tapestry of life. So go your own way, trust the road that beckons you forth, and always be led from within. How are you being called to step forward and lead? What I want to say is that there's a breakdown of trust. This breakdown of trust is really, really thoroughgoing, because it's just like, well, I've already tried doing it my own way, and every time I come close, every time I come close, shit just like falls apart. And if this is your experience, I want to let you know that I totally relate, because we've been timeline jumping and resolving the karma of so many lifetimes that this has been the case. If you are someone who quantum leaps through time, this is just the case for you. This is your reality. And I do understand that it freaking sucks. Everything constantly feeling like it's falling apart. But you are breaking through lifetimes. Things that it takes people many, many lifetimes to overcome, to shift, to heal. And you're doing it in one lifetime, and in fact, less than a lifetime. You know what I mean? So of course you're tired. But you're only going to receive those blessings when you slow down enough to do so. And integrate those parts of you that are becoming more and more salient. That is to say that, they're coming up to be integrated. They're showing up and trying to get your attention because they need you to integrate them. And there's a part of you that's just like, yo, stop fucking capping, bro. Like, well, those things are true. It's like, wanting to come off a certain way, masking, like, we don't need to do all that shit, you know what I mean? Like, we're good, we're fine the way that we are. And yeah, just this desire to be someone that we're not, to have to prove a point to others, feels like it's coming up. And it is, in a way, like, the inner child feels like we are self-abandoning when we do that. And we are telling them, like, we're not good enough as we are when we do that. And the fact of the matter is, we are good enough as we are. We were fearfully and wonderfully made. And anybody who tries to make you feel differently knows that. Let me make that much very clear to you. They know that. And they don't want you to feel that about yourself because they don't feel that about themselves. They don't want you to know that because they are so deeply filled with hate. But here's the thing about you is you are made of love. So yeah, that's just something that I really want you to understand and overstand. Is they're not full of love and they're not on your level, and they never were, and they're likely never going to be, but there were always people who were, and those people are the ones that you want to invest in. You know, spend more time and energy thinking about the people who actually love and care about you and like resonate with you, because like even though those people may be like obsessed with you, those other people, like they are obsessed, and obsession is not love, and it's not going to do anything beneficial for your life. So my suggestion when it comes to people like that is to just friggin' like leave them where they're at and ignore them, because they don't deserve any attention. They're unwell. They're sick people. You know what I mean? So people who are unwell, we gotta just like honestly pray for them. Like that really is like what it comes down to, is that we just gotta pray for them. Pray for the best, because they need it. You know what I mean? Like when you're being hurt by others, the best thing to do really is to wish the best for them, extend through you to them love and grace and hope. And you don't have any more lessons to learn that are going to be painful and hurtful. You know what I mean? Like you don't have those kinds of lessons to learn anymore. Excuse me. I think this is like all that crap that I was purging. Is this too much fire in the body, in the head, too much anger, masculine energy. So that's clearing out. Let's go back to the book, 𝗪𝗪𝗳, Hidden in Plain Sight, Mysteries, Learning, and Teaching. The rose has been a symbol of secrecy for millennia. The ancient Romans wore rose garlands on special occasions, and when these were hung above important meeting places, the conversations that took place beneath were considered 𝗪𝗪𝗳, or under the rose. It is understood that things said under the rose would be kept secret and not repeated. There's also an image of the ancient Egyptian god Horus sitting with a rose and holding his lip finger to his lips, symbolizing silence about the deep mysteries. So definitely spend more time in meditation. And yeah, quiet time with your innermost self. The phrase 𝗪𝗪𝗳 may have its origins in ancient Greece, where in 477 BCE, a secret negotiation took place in a building attached to the temple of Minerva, who's seen on this card. I think that she's the goddess of wisdom. On the building's roof was a rose garden, hence 𝗪𝗪𝗳. another otherworldly theory of the phrase's origins is linked to Eros, who is said to have bribed 𝗪𝗵𝗁𝘁, the Greek god of silence and secrecy, with a rose to persuade him to remain silent on the affairs of the gods. This card represents the great mysteries that are available for us to uncover and remember. Secrets that are waiting to be found, teachings that your soul might be ready to learn. Look beyond what your eyes can see and dig a little deeper. You're here to uncover lost wisdom, ancient secrets, and deep mysteries. Are you being called to study the great mysteries, to live the great questions, and step into your role as a teacher, guide, or mystic? Are you being called to question things and unearth the truths unknown? What are you being called to study, learn more about, or unearth? And I do want to say that I do think that, like, some of what you thought that you were supposed to do was based on masking and manipulation. And I think that as you continue to unmask and learn the truth of who you are and the reality of who you are, I think that it's going to become more clear to you how you're supposed to use your gifts to glorify your creator and walk in your light and walk in your truth. I could leave it there, but I kind of want to get a little bit more. I'm going to turn on my Virgin de Guadalupe candle, or not candle, light. You're definitely being called to have more intention when you approach your altar, when you build your altar, to come to it with greater intent. And that is going to help a lot. There's such a deep fear of your power. Why? Because the world made you feel like you were wrong. What is this fear of your power? That is what I want to know. I think it's a lot of different things. Hunt came out when I pulled out the Unsacred Oracle deck. I think it's a lot of different things that are creating this fear, contributing to the fear. And yeah, I do think that it is because the world told you that you were wrong. Fear with Memento Mori and the stability, it is real, and Memento Mori came out. I think that the structures, it's because of the 5 pillars of Eurocolonialism. That's my theoretical framework. It's because of the violence of these 5 pillars as I describe them: aspiritualism, cis-heteropatriarchy, anti-indigeneity, anti-blackness, white domination, racism, and colonial capitalism and industrialism. And we all are finding ourselves at different intersections between these things because they are the pillars that hold up the social structure in which we live. That is the matrix in which we live. And this fear that comes from, like, you know, it is super puritanical, and there's a fear of being evil. There's a fear of going to hell. And it may be that you were literally made to think that you were evil and, like, had SRA rituals done to make you feel like you were evil and that, like, you were demonic. And that may be in, like, a more conspiratorial sense, or that may be like if you grew up in like an evangelical household, or like a super like rigid, like, religious upbringing, anxiety, and in the reverse in voice, I definitely am picking up that, like, you had other people's fears passed down to you and placed upon you. You inherited these things. You were forced to practice tradition. And, like, those are some subtle ways. Like, it's just so normal to you. It's so commonplace to you that, like, the way that you were oppressed and had your, like, self-expression and your voice, your power, like, controlled, that is so, like, it seems so normal. It's taken for granted how bad it actually was. It's like, yo, that shit was bad. Like, that really, really fucked with you. Grounded. It's the environment that you grew up in. WTF. Yeah, I think that if you really, like, I don't know if you really have actually internalized just how fucked up your childhood or upbringing was. Lust in reversed sinner. Yeah, this, like, puritanical control. Like, I mean, this is not by accident. This is, like, on purpose. In your lineage, like, the colonizers, like, did this on purpose. This isn't an accident for you or for anybody, you know what I mean? Like, and manifest, like, this is exactly what they wanted to happen. So, you know, I always say the adversary knows what they're doing in Hunt in reverse. So it does have a lot to do with scapegoating and you wanting to hide. It's like, yeah, like, what can you do? What can you do? We're gonna ask the Crystal Oracle deck, what can we do to, like, get more in touch with that part of ourselves that, like, we're afraid of? We don't even know that part of ourselves, you know? That song Juna by 𝗂𝗪 is, like, it's been stuck in my head for a while, but it's playing in my head right now. Music will really help. Yeah, I was listening to Graduation the other day, and I was listening to Family Business. Oh no, I guess it was, like, late registration. I was listening to Family Business, and I bust out crying. And yeah, I understood finally, like, so much grief that I was holding on to, and I cried for days. I just, like, friggin' cried because, like, this is some deep-seated grief that I've been carrying with me that needed to be released. So deepen your perspective with kyanite and fluorite in reverse at the bottom of the deck. Sharpen your focus. Fluorite can range from pale green to deep purple. Often it's both at the same time. It occurs all over the place, and it's good to vibe with when you are all over the place. I think you need to let go. Like, you're trying to control way too much. Which is in part because of this puritanical, hyper-masculine, extreme religious upbringing or conservative, fundamentalist. Yeah, I'm definitely getting fundamentalist, like, religious upbringing. If you were raised in a cult or something like that, or you don't think that it's a cult, but, like, when you really look at it from the outside, like, you realize, like, damn, wow, you know? So, like, admitting to yourself the truth and really just, like, allowing yourself to feel into that. One thing that is really helpful for me is, like, when I'm on TikTok and I see, like, TikTok led me to this place about ex-evangelicals, like, people who grew up evangelical and left, like, the evangelical family and church and stuff like that. And it's like, wow, TikTok, read me to filth. But that has helped me to realize, like, the kind of toxic upbringing that I had, and like I just need to do more research about that. I need to dive deeper into that, not so that I can apply it to like my theoretical framework or like use it in academia or anything like that. Like if I want to make art about it, sure, like I can make art about it, but like it's really because I need to do that work for myself. It's not about like this is, you know, like this is a sacred practice that I have to go down for my healing, and it doesn't need to be commodified and capitalized upon. Who needs it? The perpetually distracted, anyone with a vision worth sticking to. So I do think that like if you are somebody who's been like dissociating a lot, and like just airy fairy, like away with the fairies, I think that this will really help. The perpetually distracted, anyone with a vision worth sticking to. Ooh, something just like surfaced for me that was like embarrassing, and now I realize like I'm feeling more viscerally, like where am I feeling that? In my heart chakra, like seized up, because yeah, a lot of this difficulty that you're experiencing is in part because there are a lot of messages that you've been ignoring. So like I've been saying, spending more time doing the spiritual work, being present with your innermost self, making space for the answers to come in, tuning into the messages. But it's like if you have supernatural abilities, spending more time with your supernatural abilities is going to help a lot. That's really going to help a lot, because what I'm picking up is like you are having like a lot of these fears come from the fact that you didn't know how to navigate your powers. And so a lot of like your behaviors that you want to stop doing are coping mechanisms because you just didn't know how to be in this world. But now you know, and you gotta like relearn how to live. And I want to say, whoever you are, I think you're doing a good job. You're doing a great job. But these are just some little things that you can like shift in your life to make your life a whole lot easier. And I know that some of it probably feels or sounds like really counterproductive or really counterintuitive. But actually, it's not. It's really not. All right, so when you want to take an uninterrupted 20 minutes to meditate, an hour to finish a book, or a lifetime to concentrate on your unique calling here on Earth, sharpen your focus, I think you need to like just stop trying so hard. Do less. Just stop trying so hard. Just do less. And I do get black tourmaline, protect your light, because a lot of this striving and this hustle culture and like hyper productivity, capitalism, continue divesting. Seriously. And so kyanite came out, deepen your perspective. Yeah, go deeper within yourself. Blue kyanite forms its long striated columns. Its heady vibe makes it a mindful choice for the 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon meditation set. Who needs it? The perpetually restless, on the bedside, altar, or wherever you are looking to go deep. I would say on your heart chakra, because there's a lot of stuff that's like, and it's also like in your solar plexus chakra. This fear of being seen is fear of being hurt. And it is because, like, especially if you're empathic, like, you need to work on, like, divesting from other people's feelings. Just, like, that's something that I've been learning, is, like, because I feel other people's feelings in my body, I don't want to feel anything at all. Of course, my body feels like an unsafe place to be, because most people are very emotionally sick and immature. And I grew up in a really toxic environment where everybody was miserable and mentally unwell and unstable and angry and hateful and prideful and violent, blah, blah, blah. Just sick, you know what I mean? Like, I grew up in a family that, like, my mom's parents were unalived by the time that she was, like, 35 years old. You know what I mean? Like, so, yeah. You know, like, my dad, like, spent 8 months in prison when he was in college, like, because, like, right after his dad was unalived, and then, like, being tortured in prison for 8 months with his brothers, uncles, and cousins, and having to watch some of them be unalived, you know. So I say that all to say I'm not, like, blaming them and calling them bad people, but, like, my family of origin is very, very sick. And as an empathic person who could feel people's feelings in my body, like, of course I didn't fucking want to be in my body, of course. And so, like, I didn't know what to do about that. So, yeah, I, like, used substances, and that made me think, like, oh, that's the solution. And that worked for a time. It didn't really work very well, but, like, it, you know, achieved the desired effect. But because it didn't really work very well, it ruined my life. I was ruining my life, and I had to get sober, and I had to, like, start looking for another way to, like, move through life. And now that I'm sober, yeah, I have to, like, figure out how to deal with all of that stuff that I was running away from, which were the feelings, and they were my feelings, and they were other people's feelings, and I had to learn how to separate those things, and it's still hard. I'm still learning that. Why do I feel the way that I feel? What is this? You know what I mean? But, you know, as long as you're showing up for the process, like, you will be fine. I know that might not feel true right now, but, like, when I look back on my experience, like, my life is actually better than it's ever been. And I'm really grateful for that. And that's only because I actually do show up for myself as best as I can, as often as I can. When you find when to use it? When you find yourself drowned out by that mental noise, even the greatest thinkers need to be reminded thoughts are thoughts, reality is reality. You can deal with it like an anxious chihuahua, or you can get down with kyanite and align to the moment with your calm and cool and tact. Deepen your perspective. So I think this is, like, really important, because one thing that I've been thinking about in the past few days is, like, for people who are neurodivergent, like, if you have ADHD, and if you have autism, really ADHD, but primarily ADHD, if you're not treating your ADHD, you 100% are going to have anxiety, and you 100% are going to have a dysregulated nervous system. So I made a TikTok about this, like, when I'm not, like, meditating and I'm not doing my shadow work, my symptoms of ADHD are far worse, because my nervous system is dysregulated. Of course it is. Like, if I'm not dealing with the things that, like, are in my subconscious, like, bedeviling me, yeah, like, my nervous system's going to be dysregulated. So no, I'm not going to be able to think straight. I'm not going to be able to concentrate. I'm not going to be able to be present, because my nervous system's dysregulated. It's really as simple as that. And so this is why it's really important. And here it is, deepen your perspective. Like, focusing more on your inner life is going to resolve a lot of the BS that's been going on in your external. And it's also going to bring you more money. In a very, very literal sense, it's going to bring more abundance into your life. And not just, like, financial abundance, which, yes, but also the prosperity and abundance of peace and joy and connection with people that you actually want to connect with. For me, it's hard. It's hard. It's really frustrating because it is very rare. Like, I met someone at emo karaoke, and like, you know, I engaged with them. I played the whole game. Then I realized, like, I kind of find this person has traits that I don't like very much. Like, they kind of just like talked over me a bunch, and I feel like they felt like they needed to prove to me like how cool and like successful they are, and like flex. And I didn't feel like they were flexing on me, but I don't like that because it feels like manipulative, and it makes me feel like I have to do that. And I'm a very sensitive person, obviously, but yeah, actually I'm like very, especially as I remain sober, I am very like close with my inner child. They are very close to the surface. And when I find that people are trying to like flex, I would say for me instead of on me, it does feel like they're trying to flex on me, but it like makes my inner child feel like we can't trust them. And I do think that that's because like that's how, like, you know, the most harmful people in my childhood were. You know, it just shows me that this is a person who's obsessed with the material. And if you're obsessed with the material, you probably don't have a very good like emotional life and mental life, like spiritual life. You probably are not like, you're probably not very much balanced, and yeah, emotionally mature. And I don't want to have to take care of anybody else. I don't really want anyone else to have to take care of me either. But that's usually been my experience when I deal with people who are insecure like that. I guess that's what I'm getting at, is that like I end up having to like walk like on eggshells around their emotions and shit like that. And it's just never reciprocal. I'm always doing the extra labor. And as somebody who's in a process of unmasking and being fucking sober as an alcoholic and addict, like, I have no shame about that. Most people like drinking and doing substances. Also, it's a disease. It is biological, and it's not like I was born and I was like, oh yeah, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna become this kind of a person. Because trust me, I probably wouldn't have like. Anyway, that's just too complicated to get into in this forum. But point is, as a sober person in recovery who still, like, actually it's like in my early recovery I did not feel this way. It's more so now that I have 5 years of being fully sober that I'm just like, oh my god, I just want to fucking smoke like a spliff like at the end of the day. Like, why can't I? Because life is getting really deep into some like shit, you know? But I just find that like I'm not willing to perform being the nice person the way that I used to. I'm not willing to perform care for people and safety for people anymore. Especially people who don't do that for me. So I think coming back to like the beginning of what prompted this reading was like, you know, I had a situation where I was being bullied, and that's really what it comes down to. I'm a fucking 30-year-old grown-ass person, you know what I mean? Like, and this just goes to show you, like, it doesn't matter how old you are, people will be fucking immature forever. If you give them the opportunity to play on your top, they will do that shit forever. It does not matter how old they are. And I was very afraid to leave this situation for very practical, grown-up reasons. But, I mean, it was work. It was a work thing. I'll just be clear about that. And I stayed in that situation much longer than I should have because I fucking need money. And when I started this job, I really, really needed it. I need it less now than I did then, but at the time I did really need it. And the point of this is, when I started this job also, I made the decision that I was not going to mask for anyone or anything. Every time I'm like, I'm gonna go to sleep at midnight. I'm gonna go to sleep before 12:30. The universe is like, fuck you. But yeah, I made the decision that I wasn't gonna mask for anybody. I was gonna just be my neurodivergent self. And because I'm medicated for ADHD, my autism symptoms are the ones that are most present and noticeable. There's no medication for autism, so, and I don't know that I would even take it if I could. That's why a lot of us end up self-medicating and self-soothing with substances. And I'm going to come back to this, but there are other ways to deal with these symptoms. And also, my CPTSD symptoms are very prevalent and close to the surface. I definitely feel like I'm going to start crying, but I'm really proud of myself that I didn't mask. And instead of giving in to that fear of pretending to be someone that I'm not for other people's sake, because they weren't willing to get to know me or ask me about myself, rather than making assumptions that were really fucked up assumptions to begin with, and that had nothing to do with my actual character. Because of that, yeah, like, I had to leave that situation. Like, I was being antagonized. I had people making up rumors and lies about me. And it's like, you know, I'll say, like, I wear noise-canceling headphones almost 24/7. Whether or not I'm actually listening to music, I'm always wearing my noise-canceling headphones, because noise is one thing that I'm super sensitive to. My ears are extremely sensitive. My digestive system, my, like, reproductive system, like, everything is sensitive. That's what it means to be have a neurodevelopmental disorder, like, and to be neurodivergent in the ways that I am, hypersensitive. And so, like, so much so to the point that, like, my first time on an airplane, my sister and I were, like, screaming, crying, because our ears were popping so bad that the flight attendants had to give us, like, cups with hot, like, napkins in them to, like, steam our ears, because we were in so much pain. And yeah, like, I was on my way to therapy today, and, like, I did not wear my headphones on my way there, and my ears were, like, ringing and hurt so badly while I was there because of the wind. And yeah, this is really what, like, the experience of autism is like. It's not just like, oh, like, I'm quirky, I'm weird, like, I don't get social cues, I fucking, like, no, that's not what it means. Like, it is actually painful. It is it comes with a lot of chronic illnesses. And, you know, I dissociate all the time. I dissociate a lot because I have CPTSD and I have inattentive type ADHD. So, like, I'm fucking, like, dissociating. I'm off in my own little world, like, literally just, like, in my own world, like, daydreaming, channeling, like, theorizing, like, trying to heal myself. Like, my inner life is so fucking rich, dude. And yeah, some people are not okay with silence, or just like with somebody being, I think that honestly it is that like people can tell when you're an observant person, and people who have a lot of things to hide do not like observant people. They do not like people who pick up on things very quickly, who are very, very intelligent. And usually people who are very quiet are very observant. So I say that all to say, like, those were a lot of the reactions. And yeah, I'm not going to get into the deep details of like what was happening, but it was just a really fucked up situation, and it was extremely triggering. It made me feel like I was in middle school again. It brought out the worst in me, and it brought out a part of me that I don't like to be. I don't like to be somebody who like has to like, you know, clap back or like, you know, cuss someone out or pop off on someone. Like, I'm actually a very gentle person, and I really just want to be left the fuck alone most of the time, which in and of itself is a trauma response. But all that being said, a lot of times I think that people don't have the patience to show up on their end of a reciprocal relationship. And when those of us who are used to performing goodness, used to performing safety, used to performing niceness, you know what I mean, all this shit, people who are quite selfish and self-involved, and also self-obsessed, tend to like internalize that about being about them, because they notice that you stopped doing as much, and now they're like mad about it, you know? Because like, oh, I thought everything was good. No, it's because I was giving 90%, you're giving 10%, and now I'm giving 50% because that's as much as, you know, that's as much as is fair. And now you're mad because like shit's not all cute. But you know what? Maybe you could try giving 40% more, and then we'd be copacetic. So yeah, that just comes back to like the beginning of this reading. And I think for myself, I was just like super, super triggered, because my inner child needed a lot more attention that I wasn't giving it. And I wasn't giving it that attention because I was too busy trying to solve the world by trying to manipulate other people outside of myself. Like, how can I get these people off my back? How can I prove to these people that, like, there's no problem, I'm just trying to do my job? Or, like, I just started taking anti-anxiety meds and I'm fucking out to lunch, and I am not fucking, like, not in a literal sense, but, like, I'm not even fully present right now, and I can't stop fucking dissociating because I have to fucking take anxiety meds, because you know, my sleep is dysregulated, my nervous system's dysregulated, largely in part because of this place. And so I quit. I quit, and like I can spend more time at the job that actually feels really fulfilling and nourishing to me. And I can spend far less time around people who are violent and hateful and don't appreciate innocence or love or beauty or kindness or light. And now that I've done that, you know, there's a lot more space for me to receive the messages of my innermost self, and I want to put that first and foremost, so that's really hard to do. Yeah, that's really, you know, that's a tall fucking order. So let's just get one more card. I just want to... I put the card that I pulled at the bottom of the deck back in the deck. I don't remember what it was. But I just want to get a card for like how to move forward from this reading. I think we've gotten a lot of insight about how to move forward from this reading. But how do we deal with this fear that comes from capitalism as a very prominent pillar of this vampiric colonial matrix? Excuse me. Solar plexus work is going to be really helpful. Anointing yourself with rose oil, also going to be really helpful. Just doing a lot of like work with the rose is going to be very helpful. Taking like baths, soaking in like Epsom salt, and helping in like rose essential oil, like rose petals, to help draw out these toxins from your heart, because it is having a broken heart. For me, it really reminded me, and this is like, I'm gonna cry again. This is what made me so emotional, is that like, it really reminded me, like, I'm no contact with my family, obviously, and it reminded me that like, I didn't care about the bullies at school nearly as much as I cared about the fact that I was like being bullied by like the people that I loved and cared about the most. And that's like, that was really hard, and it's been, you know, really tough these years that I've been no contact with them, not only because of doing this kind of like healing work, but also because like where we are at in the world today is really scary. And you would like, you know, I would like rather to be able to like connect with them and know that they're safe and know that they're taken care of. And who knows what's gonna happen tomorrow? Who knows like what's gonna happen in a month or a year from now? None of us actually know. You know what I mean? None of us actually fucking know what's gonna happen. And that is one of the things that people don't talk enough about when they talk about no contact. And I think that a lot of people think that going no contact is easy, but actually it's really, really fucking hard when you actually really love the people that you've gone no contact with. But the thing is, we have to love ourselves more than we love them. We have to love ourselves first and put ourselves first. And that's the only way that the world is going to become a better place, when we break these cycles of abuse and harm. Even if people don't love themselves enough to get better, that's how you know that they don't love you. And that's not a shade. That's just really true. Like, how can you love me? You don't even love you. The moment that you start doing better for yourself and putting yourself and your needs before other people's opinion of you, that's the moment that like I'll start believing that you're capable of loving me more, or that you're willing to love me the way that I need to be loved. And if you're not willing to love me in a sovereign way, because you are sovereign in yourself, because you love yourself in a sovereign way, then it's all good, bro. Like, I love you, and like, it's whatever, but like, I'm good. You know, you can keep that I'm good type shit. So yeah, that's what that brought up for me. And that's what I did not want to deal with. I don't ever want to think about my family, because it's really hard. And it's really, like, it's really fucked up and deep and heavy and dense and scary. And there's nothing I can do about it. Nothing more than what I'm already doing for myself. And that is really scary for somebody who wants to control things. But I have to surrender to that. So Yeah, this is a lot of heart healing work that has to happen here. The heartbreak, the betrayal. It's like, yo, especially the fact that it's like other black people. It's like, bro, like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And just like, you know, it cuts deeper when other women betray you if you're a woman, or other queer people are being fucking cops towards you, or other like da 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 da. You know what I mean? It hurts. It cuts deeper. So, yeah. Anyway, what can we do to deal with this fear that we have around hyper productivity or whatever, however it's showing up in your life? Orange calcite is the hot-blooded, artistic, love on the brain, wild child of the calcite family. I think you need to find like examples of people who fucking made it, and not celebrities. Like, yeah, you can have celebrities, but like, and I would not like, yeah, you can also have like movie characters and stuff like that inspire you, but like, I think you really need to find like actual people who've done what you want to do and like use them as inspiration, because I do get the sense of like you feel uninspired. Like, yeah, like that was what was coming up. I was like, you know, believing like there's trust broken. Like, I've already tried my hardest, so what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, what more can I do? It didn't work then. Like, what do you want from me? And what I have to say is like, you know, you need to be reinvigorated and you need to be re-inspired. Who needs it? Artist holding the proverbial paintbrush and staring at the proverbial blank canvas. Anyone whose life needs a little more life. The honeymoon suite, the studio. I think this is talking about the sacral chakra and like the svadhisthana, and doing some womb healing and doing some healing of your dark feminine, because there's a lot coming up here about scapegoat templates, hiding, persecution, and fear of being seen because of that. And that fear of being seen is what's keeping you. Closed mouths don't get fed. That's what's keeping you from receiving what you need to receive, because you're not putting it out there the way you need to put it out there. And so you're not getting back what you need to get back. It is about this fear. And just like potency and creativity. There's this energy of like, what's the point? I mean, this feels like inner teenager stuff. What is the point? What can be done to make you believe that like it's worth it? Well, you feel like, yeah, you are freer than you've ever been. You did break the chains. It doesn't look like how you wanted it to look, but it is really what it is. It's like, oh, well, you say that all the time. How can I trust that that's true this time? I think it is really about like reminding yourself that you are not like the people who hurt you. They may have poured all of their like projections of all of the shit that they want, that they are. This is prime scapegoating stuff. All of the terrible parts of themselves they put onto you, but like think back on all of the times when you proved to yourself that that's not who you are, that you're not actually anything like them, that you're your own person. You're a really like fucking strong, amazing person. Think back on all of those times that you proved that to yourself. I'm gonna light a candle for releasing our womb chakra. I do get the sense that any curse work that was done is already like been removed. Challenges in reverse. It's already over. Like, it's already over. It is now time to reinvigorate, to stoke that flame again. What got you going previously? You know what I mean? You need to be able to imagine a life outside of the confines and the boundaries of what you are used to. Where to use it, or where to put it. Honeymoon Suite Studio. want you to wear more orange. I want you to wear more orange so you can channel this like vibrancy. When to use it: when you want to make something beautiful. Orange calcite's energy is all about breaking through the fog and fear that hang on the path to creation. When you want to add some energy to your creative process or take on the Kama Sutra on one page at a time, get with orange calcite's sun-kissed vibes. So yeah, maybe get some orange calcite. I'm seeing drinking like honey, ginger, lemon tea. That's gonna be really like good for you. Anything that stokes your like inner fire, really, because like this is like some melancholic shit. Yeah, just like not believing miracles are possible or that it's worth it. Yo, let me tell you, like, I'm working on a screenplay right now for class, and it's like I'm doing a topic that's really triggering to me. And I start dissociating so much when I like think about like when certain things are like surfacing, because I blocked them out because they're so traumatic. But I need to do this. I need to write this. I blocked them out, and it like I get so triggered and I start dissociating to the point where like I like fall asleep, basically. Like, that is how powerful the mind is, trying to protect me. Duality, but also it's actually self-sabotage, voice in reverse. Singing is going to be really helpful. Dancing is going to be really helpful. I know you may not feel like it, but fucking get yourself a caffeinated beverage, maybe also a carbonated beverage, like a Red Bull or something, and fucking go dance. Go dance. I actually make a fire body butter that would be really good, and like these blends, I'm gonna start, like, I'm gonna get my 𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃 going again, but yeah, this would be really good for you. I think going to a rage room, because I think like there's a dampness in your bones that is that melancholy of that anger that has not been directed appropriately, and it is visceral, it is vital, it is in your body, and it needs to be shaken out. And I do think you need to scream it out and like fuck shit up. But I'd also say that after a long period of being really angry, it seems like now you've gotten to the place of like grief, and the stage of grief that is like sadness. So you're really progressing, even though it feels like it's taken a really long time. Haunted in reverse, carnal in reverse, resistance in reverse, innocence. You're jaded. And I do think that like it's because all of these bad spirits have come off of you. I also feel like if you are feeling like you've just been being protected from people fucking up your vibe and your energy, but I do feel like if you're looking for connection, it's coming. But you have to like your energy was kind of repelling it, because you needed to focus on this. Okay? Can I get more on that, please? Yeah, actually, like, it's like you're too afraid to even ask because you're so afraid of being disappointed. Like, that's really what I'm getting. King of Swords in the reverse. There's a lot of stuff that you needed to like a lot of, I'm really picking up like hyper masculine, like thought paradigms, so colonizer shit, that you needed to get rid of. 4 of Swords in the reverse, the Devil in reverse, 6 of Swords in reverse, 10 of Pentacles in the reverse. Yeah, there's a lot of like negative ideations that you needed to work through before coming into union with another person. And I do think that you've done that. So is anybody coming in? You may have gotten divorced in this time. Page of Pentacles in reverse. I would just recommend waiting until like somebody actually feels like a right fit instead of doing something just for the sake of it, because that's going to be re-traumatizing. So, oh, but where are they? Yeah, it can definitely sense like, you know, just being fucking fed up, like being so fed up with like lack of fulfillment and engagement in the ways that you're looking for. I feel that, but things are shifting. 8 of Pentacles, because you've been building the life that, like, you've been working hard and you've been building this life for yourself. So you can fix what went wrong. You're creating a new life for yourself. And I do think that, like, in the next 8 months, things are going to be really different for you. Ace of Swords in the reverse. It's more so remembering who you are than like developing a new self-concept. Like removing all of the false ideations of who you thought you were. And I do think that doing some like unpacking and dismantling around your own conceptions of love and romance, in as much as they're related to cis heteropatriarchy, yes, but like the 5 pillars of like your like the vampiric matrix or the DSC, like that is like even more important. Knight of Swords in the reverse. Stop waiting for a knight in shining armor to come. Two of Swords, you can't have both. You need to feel like you are that bitch, like you're your knight in shining armor before you come into a relationship with anyone, because like otherwise, if you're not feeling that way, you're not feeling sovereign, you're gonna relapse into 2 of Swords again. Wheel of Fortune in reverse. You're going to fumble anything good that comes into your life, and you're gonna, I'm picking up that actually like there are actually potentials all around you. You just don't see them because you're on a different timeline and you're looking for something that is not necessarily what you need. So I would do some dismantling work around love and romance so that you can like free yourself up of like these ideologies. And we get the Wheel of Fortune in the direct, unknown in the reverse. You are going to be like, oh wow, I did not even like see this coming when it comes to you. I didn't know what I didn't know. But yeah, do that work. Page of Wands in the reverse, because, and they're gonna be like really good and bad. Like that's just so, you're gonna feel like really good at it too with whoever it is. The Chariot in reverse. I do feel like right now you just need to trust that you're exactly where you need to be. And maybe practice, yeah, like practice flirting with people, practice building up your confidence, practice like, and it's like low stakes and like, you know, letting go of this fear of connecting with other people in that capacity, because that's really going to strengthen you. 3 of Wands in the reverse. So yeah, I think that like we got everything that we needed to get. Yeah, I think that we've gotten everything that we need to get in terms of like how we can like move forward, what is going on inside, like so many things about how we can move forward. Crystal, praise grow from your heart out. It's time to follow your heart, and I know that can be really hard and scary, but why don't you just go ahead and let the Most High Divine Creator surprise you about how like good life can be? Because I do also get the sense that before you were depending on yourself to create these opportunities, and that's why that like, oh, working so hard, but right now like you're supposed to be not working hard, and you need to let the universe show you that like I'm gonna take care of you. You know what I mean? Like, that is part of why, like, you're trying to do stuff and it's not happening. You're trying to do stuff and it's not giving you back the results that you want, because you're supposed to, like, you're not supposed to be doing that. And it's a time for you to just trust the universe, because the more that you trust the universe and you move based on your intuition, the more that you are sowing that energy into the universe, and you are, you know, passing that test, proving that you can have this kind of wealth and abundance and prosperity, because this kind of wealth, abundance, and prosperity is based on you, it is based on you, your level of trust, and knowing that you're not going to, like, let self-will run riot, and you're going to let the universe take care of you. And the more that you, like, what do you got to do when you're confused? Turn to God in prayer. Turn to God in prayer. Pray, ask for answers, you know, and I also come to my fucking altar and do a reading. You know what I mean? Like, Spirit's really calling us to be more Spirit-centered. That's something that's, like, really, really important right now. So with all of that being said, I truly and deeply love all of you. That Benadryl that I took for my sinuses is kicking in. I am so sleepy. I hope that this was helpful. I know it was for me. And this was a really good reading, and I really liked this format. I think that I might do more of these this way, where it's like you get to heal alongside me, because I do think that it also, like, shows people, you know, like, my healing modality. So I love you all truly and deeply. I hope just said 𝗂𝗪𝗁𝗁 on the timer. I hope that this was helpful, and I am gonna peace out. Peace.